Hi and welcome back to Thermogenerator. I'd really like to thank all of you who have been viewing my videos. I hope that they have brought you loads of cooking inspiration. Today I'm going to be highlighting interval speed in the Thermomix, or otherwise more commonly known as dough mode. Did you know that you can make any dough or pastry in just a few minutes in the Thermomix without making any mess? So I want you to imagine making your own favourite breads, scrolls, flatbreads, your own pizza dough. It's limitless what you can make. What the Thermomix actually does during dough mode is it kneads the dough. It does a 10-minute hand knead in just 2 minutes. I know that we all love the smell of homemade bread. I want you to imagine making your own bread in the Thermomix, and not only is it yummy, but it's also free of all those nasty preservatives and additives, and it's so cost effective. What we're going to be doing today is making hot cross buns. So I've got my ingredients ready, and now I'm going into my menu planner for today, my week, cook today, hot cross buns, and start cooking. It says that if I'm using zest, proceed with this step. If not, skip it. I've chosen not to use lemon zest, so I'm skipping that step there, where it's asking us to mill the lemon zest with the flour. Now I'm starting the recipe as I want it. I'm going to add 250 grams of full cream milk. Just tear my scale back. Great. Press next. Add a tablespoon of dried yeast, which is just a sachet. I'm very careful to put the yeast into the milk, not covering over the top of the glaze. Put the lid on. And for 3 minutes, it's going to heat the milk and activate the yeast at 37 degrees, speed 1. Beautiful. Now I haven't got the reserved grated zest and flour mix, because as you remember, I chose not to do that part of the recipe. So I'm now going to add 500 grams total of flour. Baker's flour. And for those of you who don't know, baker's flour is high in gluten, which is a protein that makes the bread that we make nice and stretchy. It's as we know it. It sort of gives it that texture that we know in bread. All right. Press next. Pinch of salt. 70 grams of butter. I always cut it into little pieces rather than putting one great big lump in there. 50 grams of caster sugar. I created my own caster sugar. The only sugar that I feel that I need to keep in my pantry is raw sugar, because I can make all my sugars from raw sugar. In this case, I've made my caster sugar, and it's just milled raw sugar for 3 seconds on speed 10. An egg. One and a half teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1.5 teaspoons of ground nutmeg, and half a teaspoon of ground cloves. And I have those spices there. I'll just add them all together. Put the lid on. Now, this is where magic happens. Imagine all those ingredients are going to be blended in just 6 seconds on speed 7. It's asking me to scrape down the sides of the bowl with the spatula. I want you to have a look how it's just combined all those ingredients in just 6 seconds. That's Thermi magic for you. So I'm just scraping that all down so that now when it starts to knead, it's got everything in the centre of the bowl ready to rock and roll. Next. Oh, and I'm going to add some sultanas, 100 grams of sultanas. And some currants, 70 grams of currants. Next, I'll put the lid on. And you can see that it's got 2 minutes on the timer here, and this is the icon for dough mode. So it's put itself into dough mode and off it goes for 2 minutes. Now you're going to hear that it stops and starts in 2-second intervals. So what it's actually doing is stretching the dough and then relaxing it. Stretch, relax, stretch, relax. And if you have a look inside, you can see that it's all coming together. We're almost at the end of the knead. There we go. It's asking me to preheat my oven to 220 degrees, which I've already done, and line a baking tray. I've already done that too. So now I'm going to transfer my dough to a silicone bread mat, and to release the dough, I just turn the jug upside down and I wiggle the blade. Oh, and it's all freed up. Hopefully. There's a little left in there. Stuck to the side of the bowl. There we go. There's my beautiful hot cross bun dough. And of course, it now needs to prove. So when I go back to my screen, it's telling me to work it into the ball and then wrap it up in my beautiful mat here and leave it to prove for at least 30 minutes so that it doubles in size. So I've formed a beautiful ball. Get all those little bits in there. Beautiful. And I just wrap it in my bread mat like so, leaving it, giving it room to grow. And I'm just going to take that over and pop it in a nice warm space for half an hour. While my dough's proving, I'm going to use the pre-clean mode on the TM6 to pre-wash my bowl for me, because there's lots of sticky dough there all around the blade, and I would rather the Thermomix do the work for me. So I've just put in about a litre of water, a tiny little drop of suds here. I've brought up my functions and I'm going to select pre-clean, and off it goes. It senses how long it needs to go according to how dirty the bowl is. So anywhere between 1 and 5 minutes, it's going to have pre-washed my bowl for me. Magic. Here it goes, it's doing the pre-clean. Pretty cool, huh? I'll show you the results in a tick. I can feel that it's actually warmed up the water, and I'll show you. Yeah. So it's got all that sticky dough off the blades for me. Now it's just a matter of a little scrub. And it took all that washing up labour away. Done. So my beautiful dough ball has proved and doubled in size. So now my instructions on my screen is asking me to knock it down and divide into 12 equal portions. I'm just going to give it a good old smack and another smack, and then unflatten it out. And what I'm going to do is sort of fold it into a log. Like so. And it makes it easy to divide into my portions, my 12 portions. Okay. So let's go in half. Notice I'm using my spatula to divide my dough so that I don't cut holes in my lovely silicone mat here. These silicone mats are absolutely sensational because I don't have to flour the bench. Nothing sticks, your doughs don't stick. These, this mat is available from the online shop at thermomix.com.au. So I divided that into 4 pieces, and now I'm dividing each quarter into thirds and sort of hopefully getting around about equal portions. I'm not very good at this, but hey, they'll look homemade if they're all different sizes. Okay. So there's my 12 portions, and now with each portion I'm going to just give it a little finger knead, and it's just a matter of rolling it into a ball. And do it on your mat and popping it on a lined baking tray. Now I've lined my baking tray with another silicone mat. This is smaller, but it can go into the oven up to quite high temperatures. So it means that I don't have to use baking paper. That too is also available from the Mix Shop online. But both these mats are also, of course, available as host rewards when you host a cooking experience. Put them sort of fairly close to each other so that when I set them off to prove again and bake, they'll sort of stick together and hold each other up as they rise. So I'm going to go through and roll all 12 of these, and I'll come back and show you the result. So here you go. I have formed my little rolls, and my instructions on my screen are asking me to put them close together as I have and set aside to prove again. So I'm going to set them aside for about 20 minutes just to give them another little proof before they go into the oven. And in the meantime, I'm going to continue with my recipe, and I'm going to make the piping mixture to create the crosses over the top, and I need 80 grams of plain flour, so I pop that into the bowl, a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of olive oil, and 100 grams of water. There we go. There we are. Press next. Put the lid on and blend that together. For 30 seconds on speed 4. Off it goes. So my piping mixture is now done, and I'm ready to pipe them onto my beautiful little buns here. Thermomix Australia at the Mix Shop has piping bags, and you can get it packed with two sized piping bags and some nozzles. That's available. And we also have what we call a cupcake pen. This is absolutely sensational for anything like icing or batters that you need to pour into muffin tins or whatever, into small capsules. these are great. But I'm going to assume that those of you who are watching haven't got any of those tools, so I'm going to show you a makeshift way of doing it. And I'm just using a little glad bag, pop it into a glass like so, push it down, and I'm going to pour my batter into it and snip the corner, and it will become my piping bag. So just... Here we go. Terrific. Push it down. And look, I'm going to snip the corner, hardly anything, just the tiniest little bit, because I want it to be a very fine stream, hopefully. Take, hopefully, control over this. Makeshift is always good, huh? There we go. Down. Oops. Lovely. And now they're going to be popped into my oven for 10 to 15 minutes or until golden brown. See you soon. This kitchen smells absolutely scrumptious, and wow, these look fab. Let's just pour them out. Delicious. Now, they need to stay on the tray for about 5 or 10 minutes to cool down a little bit. So whilst they're sitting there, we're going to make the glaze to go on top. So my thermie's told me to clean and dry the mixing bowl, which I have done. Press next, and we need 2 tablespoons of water. And 2 tablespoons of sugar. Next, put the lid on, and for 2 minutes it's going to melt the sugar and mix it through and make the syrup. So we'll be back in a minute. Yeah, lovely glaze. And then using a pastry brush, apply hot sugar syrup onto the buns while still warm. Lovely. It gives them a lovely shine. A little bit of sweetness on top. Just like the real thing. Well, they are the real thing, aren't they? I was trying to remember the other day that nursery rhyme about hot cross buns. 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. If you have a daughter, or if you have a daughter, then give them to your sons. Hot cross buns. Or something like that. You can shoot me a message or comment on my post if you can remember the words. Anyway, here we go. Lovely. Have a look at those. They look good enough to eat, and I'll be eating one in a tick with you. So here we go. Indulge. I've got some butter. I actually also like to toast my hot cross buns under the grill. And they sort of come out like toasted raisin bread. But anyway, I'm having one lovely and warm. See, it's just melting. The butter's just melting, oozing into there. Oh my God. Heaven on a stick. Light, fluffy, just the right balance of spice and fruit and, oh, delicious, really delicious. You gotta make them. They're so good.